Hey, it's the Chief bonding with board games. Hadn't been live in a while. Haven't been live in a while. Now I'm live. So hopefully Vorpal Bite will come in here pretty soon. Let's see. Let's catch up on what I have been doing. I've been doing a lot of role playing. I think some of you have seen that to some interesting lack of thumbs or new subscribers, but we'll talk about that. That doesn't mean we'll talk about that later. On the role-playing front, I've been doing solo role-playing and some group role-playing. Une has been awesome for the solo, helping to make NPC characters, non-player characters right on the spot, using the Mythic emulator and their yes-no chaos fate chart along with random events, just to say, hey, what is going on here? What is happening? Love that. So anybody that's seen, I've been doing Evil Kanan Krieg, and the idea was to play this sociopathic psychopath character and see where it went. And it's gone very interesting ways. I got to admit, I'm really loving the solo role play. I don't know what's going to happen in the game when we come in. I'll have an idea of like, I think this is going to go down. There was an ambush that they were going to pull off on this Bartek character, this Polish national that hated Americans or Russians or anybody. They were going to pull off an ambush. There's like an ops plan. Kabuki is in. I wasn't watching. Hello. All right. That'll be like a double hello from me. Sorry. Donner Pass Whiskey's in. Hey, good to see you. Let's see. So, we got a bunch. All right. We got Magnus is in from Sweden. It's from Sweden. About to drive home. Good to see you live here again. You bet. You know, I've been busy. Work had kept me busy. I was actually thinking about doing this yesterday, and then we were doing this whole my team came up with this idea to interact with some of the bicycle clubs that are in Wichita, and then the weather was bad, so not nearly as many people showed up, but we were still there. So I've been doing a ton of work stuff. The Scotch whiskey show is still going gangbusters, and I've been playing a lot. Again, we'll come back to the role-playing stuff here in a little bit, but my Mythic emulator has been awesome. Also doing Fate. I had a group come over here live that we've had a Fate group going on, so good to see everybody popping in. I'll try to do more of these. I actually love the lives. And I was talking to Vorpal about this, have an idea that I think I could do like a little one-off. So I'll give you an example, a role-playing one-off with the folks that pop in live, because the Mythic emulator allows for yes or no questions to be rolled up. Now, I'm not going to do this today. This is just conceptual stuff going on. But it would be the idea that even the folks in the chat could kind of allow a weaving of a narrative to take place using the emulator. And what instead of a solo play would be almost like this grand, I don't know if there's 8 folks in here, but this cooperative role play that would happen, because it could be like, hey, the first question that comes up on this, and we'd have to figure that out. But let's move through this fictional space together and see what happens. Just an idea that's popped in. We'll see if anybody wants to do it. If I do it, it'll be titled that way. You'll know what it is, and it'll be a direct correlation of what's going on. And we'll just do it through the text. I was even telling Vorpal, because Vorpal had sent me some comments through the YouTubes. Just he was saying how much the role-playing endeavor, I don't know if he said it wasn't for him. I think he said he hadn't played any role-playing in a long time. But I said, hey, if you want to come in and do one, we can try a one-off. That'll circle me back to Dan Pancaldi and Ron Nicholson, and I was doing the live playthroughs. We had this routine set up where it was every Sunday at 1, and we had that locked in, and we were, I think, 10 or 11 episodes in, and then life happens as it does. Dan got a job, and it changed his schedule around. And when we started, The first key was that if they disliked it at any point in time, we would just quit. Neither of them were like huge. They were definitely board game players first. And I think Dan said he hadn't played any role playing, if at all, in years. And Ron, I think, had a couple engagements with it. But what happened there was we'd said from the beginning, hey, family first, work, obviously. You've got to keep all those things in perspective. And we can always pause what we're doing and return later. The role-playing game's frozen in time with Ron talking to, we're in Poland, to some Russians who are at a roadblock. And Dan, the pasta sniper's on his sniper rifle, just covering him, ready to take the shot if need be. And there lies the pause. We can always return to that. So if anybody's following that, I'm going to cover a couple things that I'm looking to play, that I want to play. Then we'll come back to some other stuff going on here. What is this? I'm getting a Windows security. Dismiss that. All right. So Rocky Mountain Man has been, I'm forgetting the designer's name now. Is it Nate Hayden or something like that? I can't remember. Very colorful on this side. This is basically, think Source of the Nile, how you're moving into sandbox type space. It borrows those mechanics using crayons to track and some counters in here to track your progress. And you're a mountain man going out to trap and hunt and then come to the rendezvous and sell your pelts and do all this kind of stuff. The campaign is what interests me. And I need to learn it. And if it's fun, I'll even kind of video play it like I was Queen of the Skies, B-17 Queen of the Skies. I could always and should return to, again, the plane is on like what mission, we're ready for mission 14. And I paused on that as the role playing took off. So I could return to that. I want to get Silent Victory onto the table. I've gone through the rules. I had it set up at one point in time, and then life took hold, and then RPGs took hold, and I've got to go back and play through some of this. I love Knizia is my favorite, and I picked up Tutankhamun, and we have groups that come over to the house, and I want to get this on the table and played. And then my son actually kind of likes, well, not kind of, he loves like robot stuff. And this is program movement from Emerson Matsuchi. I think I'm saying your name right, Emerson. Sorry, he's chatted a little bit with me. But I picked this up because this is one of his first or earliest games, Volt, and it's programmed movement. And it's just so great. I think my grandson, probably granddaughter, will like it too, and my son will like it. I like well, program movement's fun. It's chaotic. I like it. So that's my gaming stuff where we're at. Question for those that are in the chat, because a lot of you folks will come in often, repeatedly, and let me know what you like, don't like. Now, one caveat. Part of this channel, so I have my career. All right. I dreamed to be in law enforcement since I was 5. I wanted to be a police officer, and I've been doing it now 27 years. I think I'm going to do it 4 or 5 more years. Great. I'm already doing my dream job. So when I do this channel, it's not really for profit's sake, as most of you can probably tell. Hello. This is not a profit generator. Now, sometimes all these are games. Well, Silent Victory was sent to me by the designer and Greg Smith. Let me look. Yeah. So Greg sent me Silent Victory, but I bought most all of these. The point I'm coming back to is moving into role-playing has been actually quite enjoyable for me. Now, I don't want to do it exclusively. I still want to do board games and playthroughs, and Judd Vance has even talked about coming over here because he's loving the CNC Samurai or the Napoleonics. And we would love to play through some of the Borg's game systems that he's done with his CNC stuff. And I would love to even film some of that. So I still want to do a lot of that, but I'm going to continue doing some role playing. The question being, my long-term tuner-inners, hello, tuner-inners, are you enjoying the role-playing side? I know it may not be your cup of tea, but what are you thinking about it? So I'm enjoying it. I plan on continuing it, but I am going to break like my Twilight 2000 Evil King and Krieg into seasons where I'll take breaks so there's not just role-playing coming out. And that way, then I can return to that, or I can return to Be 17 Queen of the Skies or whatever. So here's Kabuki. She met Emerson once at a gaming gathering. Here we go. At a friend's house. Wow, that would be cool. And had no idea it was him at first until her friend asked him to sign his copy of Volt. Then she knew who it was. Yeah, Emerson's great. I've talked to Emerson at BGG Con once, I believe. Wow, I got a little damage to my box. And Emerson's awesome, and even sent me, I think he did. Well, he didn't do this ham tag version that you're seeing here, I don't think. But he did, maybe he did do those. He did some of these, he did some of the ham tag graphics, and it was so long ago, like 8 years ago. I can't remember if he did the one in the upper corner here, if he did these colors, or if he did this other one, because he was watching ham tag. Emerson, I'm sure you don't watch the show, but if you see this, put a comment in. Let's see. Kabuki Kid, Silent Victory is one I bought from the series 2. Yeah, I've never been into submariners or submarines, but you know, the solo side of it, these have been so well received. I thought I need to give these a try. And then I'd seen, and I'm going to forget, it's the history guy, I want to say is his name. And he did a whole deal on the submarine, and the name will come to me soon, that sunk a locomotive, and that whole story. And the name's just escaping me. Shoot, someone will throw it in because everybody on here are geniuses. So Andrew says he's really enjoying that. Okay, so you're enjoying the role-playing side. Good. Now I'm still doing the live stuff. Well, it's not live, but one of the beauties of being able to use StreamYard is I can make it private. And then Ron Nicholson and Dan Pancaldi can come in, and we'll actually run a show through this system privately. And then I can just post it up. And it works perfectly. It's so good for shrinking the world. I love the live. Now, again, that's not dead. I want to get back to the pasta sniper and all that, but the world comes first. So we've paused it. And sometimes that happens, just like game groups. You know, the group doesn't meet for a while and it's over. It's one reason I wanted to do the solo side of it, because I can control that. Now we'll go more personal. What do you all think of this crazy stash? Look at this crazy stash. Rolly fingers kind of, I don't even know how long. Don't tell them. But the police department may not allow this much longer. It's a little crazy. My direct boss is a history nerd, and he's working on his master's. And he loves the Civil War period. So he said he likes it. But someone higher above could tell me I have to have a much more toned down stash. So control of facial hair, definitely a distinct part of being in law enforcement. Although if you look back into the old times, there was obviously Civil War area around then, right before World War I. There were a lot of fancy mustaches and beards. Andrew loves the stash as well. Well, thank you, Andrew. So we'll see. One thing I've noticed with the stash that was not expected. I'm 6'6", very tall person. And when I walk into an event for the first time, or I go to teach a class or whatever for the first time at the academy, of course, the height is what, whoa, you're tall. The funny thing is the stash will now have the crowd effect before the height. They'll be like, wow, what kind of stash is that? Or, whoa, look at the stash. So it's been interesting having the stash lead the way. The stash is out front. So, but I'm usually not hiding, hence the manga shirts, hence my boonie hat that I actually wore when I was just once on a training maneuver in Fort Polk, Louisiana. I wore the OD green instead of the camo. So I think that's it for what I'm doing. There's always more games that I want to learn and play, like and they're all, Volt, Tutankhamun, Silent Victory. There's some other RPG stuff that I'm looking at. I'm playing Fate live in the house. I'm playing Twilight 2000 solo and Twilight 2000. I'm refereeing it, GMing it for Dan and Ron. So that has been very fun. My son and I will do some Fate games as well. So what other topics are out there? Anybody else got any? What do you guys think of the idea of, so here was my idea. So on one of the, I can't remember the town now, but the pasta sniper and man, it's been so long now I can't. What was his character? What's Ron's character's name? I'm blanking on it. They enter a town, and in this town, they're basically confronted beggingly by these tech army enlisted troops that are starving. However, one of them has an ulterior motive, some kind of secret thing going on. Well, the way role-playing goes when you're playing with real people is they shook these fellows off, actually used some of their verbal skills, their rapport or whatnot, to get them to go over and bug some Russians that were in this apocalyptic, bizarre area of the town. And off they went. And off in another direction went the role-playing session, which is great. But these guys stuck. They stuck a little bit. They're, other than the one secret guy with their ulterior motive that we don't know what it is, these other three are basically bereft. They have no skills. Their tech skills are like with repairing night vision goggles, which is, by the way, what my co-host on the Whiskey Show did when he was in the Army, which is why I picked it. What is your favorite Knizia game? Easy. Medici. God, I love it. It's like my favorite game of all time. I'll come back to that. So my idea was to possibly, with the folks that come on here with a designated show just for this purpose, as a group, I would be involved in this as well, would inhabit those four. And I would guide a little bit, but everybody could ask, we would have to see how this controlled out. Probably be the first person I saw on something would be like a yes or no question under the Mythic emulator. And then we would make decisions kind of for the group, and there would be randomizers that would happen. And we would see how these tech bereft folks survive this confrontation in the bazaar. So, I don't know what it says. If there's anybody that can read that, let me know. Oh, wrong arm. There we go. So I don't know what that says. That's an interesting. I should know. So Kabuki. We'll come back to my favorite game of all time is Medici, which is a Knizia game. The beauty of Medici, so it's 3 rounds. The game lasts 45 minutes, and it handles 3 up to 6 beautifully. Slightly different feel with 3 versus 6, but what you have is it's Renaissance. There's ships that have come in, and everybody at the table are like these market-rich traders that are both bringing in goods. They're bidding on goods that are coming off the ship, and they're filling the whole of their ship. And then you have 3 rounds. Each round, after you're done bidding, and it's a once a round, with the person bringing the goods out getting the last bid, so they could always outbid. And the cool thing is you're bidding florins, and your florins are your victory points. So if you overbid for an item, you're hurting yourself ultimately, because you're spending your victory points to get more victory points. And if you don't manage that dichotomy, you lose. You're trying to get high numbers, think high quality goods from 0 to 5, and that will determine the scoring of your boat. So just the highest number so you add all the goods on your ship. I think there's 5 goods that you can get on there. You add that together, and then you get points, and everybody around gets points with the largest number getting the most points, and it shrinks as you go around the table. And then the second phase is the type of good you got, regardless of the number. And that is a ladder mechanism with 5 different goods, with you climbing up on the ladder. And the idea is to monopolize goods, because you get bonus points when you get to the top 3 tiers of the ladder. And the monopolizing happens over all 3 rounds. So you're slowly climbing the ladder, but also each round has just the boat total. So you're getting a boat total 3 times, but you're moving your ladder up over the course, and you score that area you score that each time as well. But the bonuses, just by the nature of it, can't really start to come in until the 2nd and 3rd round. And the bidding is so tight. And what's nice, it's the first game from Knizia that I played where the game is inside the players. It's the bidding game, because you're pushing people around based on how the kind of goods that you randomly pull out. Do you pull out 1, 2, or 3? Do you bid up a certain amount, even if I don't want it, so that Kabuki has to, I know she wants it. Those are the goods that she's working on in a monopoly on the game. But I don't want her to get them cheap, because she's already climbing up this hierarchy ladder of a monopolized good. So I bid it up, but if I bid it too high, she'll say, take it. And I'm like, I don't want it. I don't want it. And it ends up hurting me. So you got to watch how you're bidding. I remember we had a big game night at the house, and a gal actually brought over, usually we'll say game night, you got to be 12 or up, because a lot of the games we're doing game night are, Volt could handle that easy, but there's some games like I played Medici with some 8, 9-year-olds, and they don't get it. And they're just, 30 florins. I'm like, well, you don't want to bid 30 florins for 8 victory points. I don't get it. And I'm like, well, you're breaking the game. But this kid, I want to say his name was Bryce or Bryson. He's at the table. We do a round. The 2nd round comes around, and he's beating players over the head with his virtual bag of money. And his mom even was like, Bryson, be nice. I'm like, no, I believe he's getting this game at a deeper meta level. And she was like, what? And he's like, I love this game. I'm like, you're getting it. And I think he came in 2nd and was pushing hard for 1st place. And he was like, this is great. And that's what happened with me. So long story, Medici, Knizia, and Knizia has a lot of games where I'll play them and I don't get them. And I'm figuring that maybe I'm not getting through that breakthrough of depth. I think the breakthroughs are there, but sometimes also he'll have a game where the mechanics just aren't quite to my liking. And if I don't like the mechanics, even if it's got some depth or whatever into it, I've got I've got a lot of Medici or Knizia games I like. So I've got a collection of his games. So Martin Wallace is a designer that I've collected. Knizia I've collected, and I've got many of his games. And that's Phil Eklund. I actually love Phil Eklund games, and I've been picking those up because there's the same deal. I'll start to play. I was playing Neanderthal, and the depth just kept pulling me in further and further and deeper and deeper. And I was like, oh my gosh. And unbelievable game. And I've got some of his PAX games that sometimes I can't grok them, but I want to. So let's see. Boy, I went on there for a while. What do we got here? I've never played Medici. Need to get it played someday. Yes, you do. It is awesome. The art has always suffered a little bit, but then I'm blanking on the name. Out of Australia, they actually did a version with good art. They still messed up one of the colors a little bit, I think, but whatever. Have you ever played 18xx games? I have, Kabuki, and I don't enjoy them much, and I'm not sure why. First of all, I don't like train games much. I don't know. I think it's the stock buying, but it's just trains in general. I like Ticket to Ride, and that's about it for train games. So I don't know what it is with them. Let's see. What do we got here? What is this? IKK. What is that? Knizia? I don't know. Anybody got any other comments, questions? I haven't been on for a while. I was hoping Vorpal would come in because he wanted to. Is he in? I haven't seen him. I wasn't paying attention there for a while. Yeah, I could go on and on about Medici. Oh, hi, KK. Got it. Sorry, missed it. Missed it, Timon. So, let's see. What else? I got Great Wall in, and it looks gorgeous, and I love worker placement. But I did most of my worker placement play. It's probably my favorite Euro mechanic, and I did it when we had a very strong Wichita area board gamer group. And many times we would have 20, 25 people there, and you could come in and you could bring a game and teach it, or you could sit down, and there was always, that's where I first learned Pillars of the Earth, my favorite worker placement game. Gorgeous. And putting the cathedral together is just great fun. But I don't know. It's one of the purchases. I'm glad I bought it, but I'm sitting here looking at it thinking, am I ever going to get it to the table? Because the groups I get now over at the house, they're a little lighter. We always end with Werewolf, and everybody loves it. And I'm working in. I want to have a Knizia night where I've got a couple other buddies that like Knizia, and we'll all teach different Knizia games. Timon just saw yours. Got it. Yes. What can we say? When you have alone time, what is your usual go-to? Solo board game, video game, reading, watching media? What is your thing? Reading is definitely my first thing when I have alone time. And I'm in a law enforcement reading group. We're actually reading, it was funny, my boss, same guy, he's into history. And I had shared with him, I'd seen a history book, and I'm thinking, what is it called? The Hope? No, Land of Hope, I think. And I showed it to him. He went and bought it. And then he said, hey, that's the next thing on the reading groups list, but it's kind of a tackle. And I've just finished the Progressive Era. I think I'm reading through Woodrow Wilson's World War I right now chapter. So when I have downtime, I'm reading usually either fiction and nonfiction. I used to be almost exclusively fiction. I liked historical fiction, but as I've gotten older, I'm reading a lot more nonfiction as well. And then it would be board games, role play, or tabletop games. I should almost call it bonding with tabletop games. Get rid of the bonding and RPGs, but that would be it. And then I like video games, but they will suck me in. I was playing something on the PS3, some space themed Sim City builder, keep your city running on a planet, and 2.5 hours zipped by, and there was all kinds of stuff I had to get done, and I had to quit playing for a while. When I retire, I plan on giving myself some video game time. So, but that is media-wise, no, I don't watch. I actually almost watch no TV. Wife and I will watch some series every once in a while. Mostly reading for me. Favorite sci-fi themed game. Sci-fi themed game. What would that be? I've got tons of sci-fi over here. I'll have to think on the top of my head. I was looking at, and I'm blanking on the name of a role-playing game that's getting ready to come out. Man, why am I blanking on it? I can't. There's a sci-fi game getting ready to release here, I think in May. Me, Myself, and Die. He did his second season with the Viking/fantasy side of it, but I'm looking at the sci-fi side, and I'll probably buy it. Otherwise, sci-fi stuff, I kind of lean toward Star Trek. I'm blanking on the name. I have the one where you're exploring and you've got your ship and the tiles are flipping over. Can't remember the name. Howdy, driving home, so cannot participate, but this is Magnus. I have stopped. So now, this time, Officer Chief, FYI, not typing while driving. Just wanted to comment on the stash. I'm thinking Wyatt Earp. That's exactly what my lieutenant said. And there's even a photo. I went to the Wichita Museum. Wow, I left my thing on here. I went to the Wichita Museum. They had a big photo of Wyatt Earp, and his mustache is impressive. See if I can find it off the top of my head. It's going to be very boring watching me look for it. And no, I don't. Oh, here it is. It's got to be right in here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. So I will hold this up here if I can get it to rotate. There we go. So that, oh, it's not going to show up, is it? There it is. You can kind of see Wyatt Earp there. So with the stash. All right, let's see. What do we got here? You have problems getting games played. I moved near West Plains, Missouri, and right now there's no game stores within 30 minutes. Okay, so I do have some problems getting. I want to play so many games, I buy too many. I've actually got now that we're moving past the thing. I've got some older war game players that want to start coming over again. I used to have some guys that would come over like every other week or once a month, and we would get different games played and just have fun doing that, because I definitely love that. And then we create events over here, and life is the biggest thing that gets in the way there. So I'm converting so many cops in particular into game players and having them bring their spouses. And I mean, we've had 20, 30 people over here playing. We always end with Werewolf, because it's this nice, light kind of, social game. And once most of them have experienced that, they want more. And I had one guy call me and say, my wife is angry at me. She thinks I've made you mad, and that's why we haven't been invited back to your house. And I go, I forgot to put you in an email list once, and then we haven't had one in 5 months because we got busy with 80 different things. And he was like, okay, please keep me in your email list. And I love that. I was trying to we were trying to come up with an every other month schedule. But we work with the community every other month with board gaming out in the community as well, geared more toward young families with small kids. But the idea to share this depth of our hobby and how awesome it is, and how you can share this shared space. That sounds terrible. It worked for Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, so why not the Chief? Tell that to your bosses. Yes, so far my bosses have been all right. I had a brand new captain as well. I went up and said, hey, if you don't like this, I can change it. And he's hilarious. He said, you'll change your face for me? I'm like, well, the hair on the face, I guess. So Kabuki Kid says, fun trivia. World War I technically ended 3 miles up the road from me. Wilson signed the Knox-Porter Resolution here in New Jersey. It was at the farm. Oh, it was at a farm at the time. Very cool. Very cool. I was just reading about that. I didn't know where it was signed, because that's where the League of Nations is first kicked off as well. Battle stations. Question mark. No. Fleet captains. Yes, that's it. My goodness. I even got Dominion back there. I did not buy the Romulan expansion in time, and now it's crazy, so I won't buy it. My problem is that one takes a while to get set up, but it feels like Star Trek. So yeah, fleet captains I like a lot. Good call on that one. Matching mustaches, kind of. His is way better than mine. So, all right, let's see. What are we at? We're at 34 minutes. We'll go a little bit longer. I like the run there. Let's see. What else is going on? That actually might be about it. We'll see if, here's Timon. I hope the World War One book wasn't written by Wilson himself. No. It's called The Land of Hope. It's a history book that actually distills down these eras very, very well. And kind of under that land of hope, you feel that concept moving through. It doesn't shy away from the problems, which is what I want as well. But it's a light surface dive. What I found the most interesting from this book were the years between the big events that I've read a lot on. So right after the Civil War, I knew about Reconstruction, but I never really read a lot about it. And seeing that down period between that and World War One, and what kind of happened in between there and why, that I found very, very interesting. 1820 to 1858, kind of that period in there, what was going on? Well, I know there was westward expansion and some stuff, but that was really some of the highlights so far for me. And then about 6 or 7 of us are reading this, and then we're going to meet and discuss. So I love to dog ear pages. So something hits me, I'll dog ear it, and then I'll come back later and go look at my dog ears and reread that page, and maybe even take some notes on the side. What did I like about it? And then we go in and discuss about it. I love that. So the problem is this book is, I'm going through it slowly, kind of a slow reader, actually. All right. What did I miss here? Let's see. David Jack, I have 2 complete sets of fleet captains. You're a genius, sir. Good. Well done on that. Well done. Kabuki Kid, I should have highlighted that. Got you on the screen. Bam. Kabuki Kid, it's easier for me to read when I don't highlight it. That's why I'm not. So yeah, there is a plaque explaining Wilson signing it and all that. It's now in the middle of a traffic circle. Wow. Laugh out loud. You might get killed trying to get to it if you check it out. Progress and traffic circles. Kabuki Kid, right near the John Basilone Bridge. He's a local hero. Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Basilone, isn't he the fellow that got the Medal of Honor on Guadalcanal and then died on Iwo Jima, if I remember right? Heavy machine gunner, senior NCO on Iwo Jima, and got killed, if I remember. I could be totally wrong. Correct me if I messed up the name. I have fleet captains, says Magnus, and Dominion, but not played them. Yeah, I've played fleet captains only 3 times, I think. I loved it. But it was one of those destinations where I was getting people over that love Star Trek and they enjoyed it, but doesn't get that traction in my house. And I'm not a big enough fan of it myself that it was something that I was like getting groups together multiple times for it. So now I'd have to even relearn it. What else here? I would love to do it, of course. And yes, Romulan Empire, very crazy price if you find it new. Yeah, that's the problem. I should have bought it too, because I thought, okay, I like it, but I wasn't all in on it. I should have got it, and I missed it. Stupid Scott decision. Yes, that is in there as well. We're talking about Land of Hope. So yeah, it does touch on all of that. Well, that's one of my problems too with, not problem. I sit there and pine over John Wilkes Booth killing Lincoln, because I would have loved to have seen what Lincoln could have done with Reconstruction. My goodness, I think it would have gone so much better. But we don't get to change time. However, the Fate campaign I'm running with some coworkers and my son is all about the Time Protection Agency. And it's a fun little twist, because what's happening is the TPA, Time Protection Agency, which my gamers are working for, they exist outside of time, special group, and they're there to preserve the actual timeline, which they have because they're outside of time. However, their first mission here is that someone has gone back in time and saved Lincoln. And their job is to go back to that era. They actually popped in outside of DC, down in Virginia, 2 weeks before the assassination, which is halted, and they have to make sure it happens. Crazy. So you got a little time paradox stuff going on. You got them trying to figure out a little bit of a mystery. And at the same time, they know that the worst case scenario is they may have to preserve the timeline themselves if somehow Booth was taken out. So it gives this thing, and they're working against the anti-TPA, which are basically trying to make everything better, which makes sense, but not. And so there's all these little twists and turns that are happening in the role-playing game. My boy and I created this whole scenario ourselves. So just, we like the history, we can read up on it and then drop the players into history and then give them the hard thing of Lincoln needs to die to preserve the time. Because, I would have liked for him to live. But that's what's going on in the Fate game we're playing. He's from New Jersey. They had a parade for him here every year still. Yep, that's him. Good. I thought I remembered Basilone, I believe is, yeah, awesome. He didn't have to go back. They actually didn't want him to go back to Iwo Jima. They were worried, and rightfully so. And he trained him up and went back and got killed. I want to say like day 6. Brutal. So that was a heck of a slog. Let's see. Have you tried Star Trek Ascendancy? No. My main gaming buddy on the police department, Brent Johnson, wants me to play it. He loves it. The problem is, I think he likes to get a big group together, and it scales like an hour per person. And I went over there and played his Aliens game, and it was okay, but I haven't played that yet. And he says I need to because it's Star Wars in a box. Harry Turtledove, yes, I love his alternate fiction, has written a number of alternate history books based on the Civil War. Yes. He also did one on World War I, and he did a series on World War II. And I love his stuff. Sometimes it gets a little bit bizarre, but you can tell he loves the history so much. And I love that he teases out the thread of the possibility. Love that. And I think my problem is, I feel like when I read a Turtledove, I want to know so much of the real history so well that I really enjoy the twist. I want to say I read one of his where something was changed at Gettysburg and it let Lee win Gettysburg. I think I read that one. Not that I'm an expert on Gettysburg, but I knew enough of the battle that it was, what happens to Chamberlain is like, no, that kind of thing. I'm living in the past, folks. I'm living in the past. Yeah, he was the first Medal of Honor winner in World War II, and they had come home and did tours to sell bonds, and that bugged him that he was away from the fellow soldiers over there fighting. Yep. Good Marine. I've met him at conventions. Who are we talking about? Let's see. I also featured in that HBO series, The Pacific. Yes. Sort of a sequel. Yeah, the problem was the Pacific was so hard, and they used the enlisted man's version kind of from, forget the 2 names of the books they sourced. Band of Brothers was so good because you got to see it from that whole unit as they traverse through, whereas the Pacific was different whole, First Marines and all that, different sections, and way more dark and dismal. Okay. Turtledove. Got it. You met him. Sweet. Sorry, I was tracking around different. Helps if I can type. Pacific. I knew what you meant. The Guns of the South. Yes, that's exactly what I read. And then I think he went back and gave it a much deeper treatment of the Civil War, if I remember right. But I did read that. It was, if I remember, it was kind of weird. I thought maybe somebody went back like a squad with some automatic weapons or something. I don't know. It got kind of weird. I was like, okay. I would have preferred just to see what would have happened if this little twist happened, not machine guns are introduced or anything, but then see what happens with a different piece of time. Um, what other authors are out there? That Brandon, what's his name, that just had the $35 million Kickstarter? Sandborn, can't remember his name. I hadn't read any of his books, saw that, and I went and got Mythborn for Audible. That's actually been really interesting to listen to so far. Anybody else on here read more of his stuff? It's kind of, I love the magic there is all about burning metal. Sanderson. Thank you, Brandon Sanderson. Kabuki, you're a genius. That's correct. And there we go. Timon, you're a genius as well. I'm loving that Mythborn. Started kind of weird and then took off. And I'm enjoying that. I didn't at first I was going to back just because 35 million people backed, and then I thought I don't need all these boxes and bound games. I don't even know the game. But I went and got one. Super Genius. Well, that's cool. Yeah, it seems like a great writer. I'm enjoying it. I got to admit, I was watching some of their live as the Kickstarter was going, and I won't get into it, but a couple times the whole thing was off-putting to me a little bit. But that happens to me sometimes. Like I've read some Stephen King stuff, love it. I know everybody loves him. And I actually think he's probably a fairly down-to-earth guy. But every once in a while, little touches of hubris will come through. And we all have it. So I shouldn't be judgmental. But every once in a while, I'm like, eh. So, and I saw little peaks of that. But if you're in the middle of a campaign that's hit $27 million, maybe a little hubris should be leaking through. People are loving what you do and putting their money where their mouth is. Wow, putting their mouth where their money is? That would be filthy. You wouldn't want to do that. Amazing place where I am now. Wish you guys and gals could see it with your own eyes and experience the wonderful tranquility. Now I must continue my drive home. I'm picturing mountain peaks and Edelweiss. Just me. Patrick, Tactics and Tutorials. Sorry, I was pronouncing it almost like Roman. Tactitus. Chief, check out Turtle Dove's How Few Remain. I think that's yes. I'm sure that is. That starts the whole CSA. Interesting. Order 191. Over $10. Man, I'm gonna have to do that after I retire. Will do though. Magnus is teasing us. Yeah, I'm sure he's in a beautiful area. Actually, you know what I found? Almost every place I've been to is a beautiful area. I lived in the mountains of Colorado. Beautiful. I will give you my favorite moment in the mountains. I was working at the Colorado School of Mines, an engineering school, not mimes, but like mine, where you're pulling out gold or whatever. And I was campus police there, my first cop job. And the brewery, it's right in Golden. So the brewery's right there for Coors. And it was like 3 a.m. I was on the night shift because I was the temp guy. And the brewery's running, and there's a blizzard blowing in, heavy snow. And when a blizzard rolls in like that, it blankets everything and muffles the noise and makes everything seem serenely peaceful, yet lights everything. Because not only is there light for the buildings, but I think even in the midst of the snow, there was like a full moon going on. So you're getting these beautiful, beautiful displays of light at night. And everything gets so quiet and peaceful. And then I could smell the brewery. I remember driving home that morning at like 7 a.m. thinking, I need a beer. And I don't usually drink beer at all. Yes, Magnus is teasing us. How Few Remain was the redo on the Civil War. Cool. I'll have to check it out. Again, with 10 books, I'll pop into that later. Let's see. I will run 10 more minutes. We'll go 1 hour with this, just so it's watchable for those that come later, for those that wish to. And then Kansas, very similar. The sunsets here are just gorgeous. And it's interesting because my son Bo loves the wind. The wind in Kansas just washes over you. It's almost it almost sounds like what the wind sounds like at the beach without the breaking of the waves, which you never hear the wind without the breaking of the waves, kind of. So to hear that here, it reminds me of that. I worked right out of high school. I went and worked on the East Coast all the way up into Maine and everywhere, and the ocean's a lovely place. I got to admit, I think I love East Coast over West Coast. San Diego's beautiful and the beaches are nice, but I love transitions. I love transitions in books. I love transitions in games, the life transitions, even the season transitions. And when I was up in Bar Harbor, Maine, 22-foot tidal ranges that were changing. And we would actually leave there. We would go up there for the summer and then come back down on this ship as winter approached, and then worked around Chesapeake Bay and then down to Florida. I actually don't like Florida too much. It's so sandy. Asking the important questions. What brand of mustache wax? Man, I've been trying a little bit of everything. And I can't remember the brand actually right now, but there's this like beard cream that works really well because I don't like it like frozen in place, but sometimes it gets all crazy as well. So I can't give you a brand. I had a photo of it because I was looking for more of it, but we'll see. Where are we at? All right. Any last questions? Coming back to where I was, is there anybody that would have any interest at all if I ran a little one-off Twilight 2000 RPG with the folks on the channel? It would be public, but we would walk through, and it might be a mess, may not work at all, but we would walk through a little one-off and kind of work our way through a scenario, starting with that Turkish like bazaar, apocalyptic bazaar. I think I would have the skill to do it, and the emulator would make it almost rather easy. All right, so David Jack says that would be great. Good. I won't do it today. It'll be something I'll plan out, and I'll put up a notice that it'll be coming on. That might be fun. No idea if I would be around to participate. Sure, it'd be kind of like if you're there, you're there. And doing it as a one-off, I think would be the only way to do it. I had this other idea. It was interesting because, I get some Patreon support for folks that like what I'm doing. Not many, but some, which is good because if you really like something, you'll kick $1 to it. Not saying anybody has to, but that's the whole point. And I thought, what if I would love to do one-offs for like a Patreon section of, imagine a fictional high school, kind of like Red Dawn, but it's some other school, and everybody just gets a little character who may or may not make it. And we're just going through and be like, nope, down, out. Jimmy didn't make it to the little truck. So I was having an idea of running these in a brutal fashion and just seeing where it went. But I don't know if that would be horrible or unentertaining or whatnot. So again, it would be Red Dawnish. We're not trying to make it realistic. The way Ukraine kicked off was I was like, and then seeing those scenes of the buildings, very Twilight 2000-ish. I thought, this is me being dumb, I thought Europe was so far away from that I would never see anything like that in my time. And as anybody that loves history like I do, I should have known we're not way past that. So, but I actually like the unified response that has happened because I think the world's so much more connected, just like this ability to do this, the ability of me to have Ron Nicholson in Ohio and Dan Pancaldi in Canada, and to have us be able to coalesce around a role-playing game. The world is shrinking. And I love it. And I believe it's going to lead toward more peace, more pressure for peace, and hopefully more understanding that we're way more alike than different. So I mean, look at this. We even got to see, because of this technology, we got to see that Russians are not a single-minded people either. You know, they had thousands protesting and being arrested. Voila, great. And it helps people, because I'm running into some people, not many though. You don't run into many that are like Russian bad, you know, like Soviet Union bad. It's more like leadership's bad. The fact is, you know, the Russian people, many of them risked protesting, going to jail, and facing what? I think they were saying 10-year sentences for something. I mean, it's crazy, but you still see they'll go out and protest. All right, Scotland. Actually, I don't know where, and I'm a Dunfermline. I can't. Am I close? With the Scotch show, Scott and I, my co-host, got flown out to Waterford, Ireland for a week. We were there with Waterford, who's making great whiskey, and then we hopped over to Glasgow, and we met with our European fans and other Glaswegians in Glasgow. We did a tasting, and then we went and toured Islay, and we toured the Highlands. Loved it. We also went to Edinburgh and got to hang out at the vaults for the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. And I could have spent a week just in Edinburgh. Or Edinburgh. I think I'm saying it wrong. They go, you say it wrong. Then they tell me how to say it. I still say it wrong. Edinburgh or Edinburgh? Sorry, David. I'm an idiot. Serious sentences, 10 to 15 years or something crazy, right? Yet you see the protesting happening in the thousands. That's what I'm talking about. So it's been interesting to see the everything coalesce. My personal belief, just from reading history, is that, and watching the news, is China's watching, obviously, and they've got they're always looking at Taiwan. And I think when they see the way the nations came together, they start thinking, whoa, if we went and tried to take Taiwan back, or whatever the heck they want to call it, return it to the mainland, I think all business would stop there and there would be problems. So, and which means peace prevails, hopefully, and continually. Let's see. Hope change comes. From within. Right. And I believe that's why I'm a huge free speech advocate. Actually, I really enjoyed, if you haven't seen it, there was the TED Talk with Musk, where you've probably seen blips because he talks about Twitter, and his phrasing on free speech there, I really liked. The idea that for him, of course, you follow the laws of the state or the country you're in. So first of all, there are guidelines and restrictions, but the idea of free speech is someone you don't like is able to say stuff that you don't like, stuff about you, or just stuff you don't like. So someone I don't like can say stuff I don't like. That's fine. And there's no restrictions. During the protests, so we won't go deep into that, but a lot of people don't like the police, many for good reasons. I'm not here to tell them their reasons are bad. I actually think you have to keep your eye on the police. A lot of power, armed. You should keep an eye on that power authority. That's why there's restrictions on what I can do when I'm on the job. Good. And people need to be able to come in and say things that I don't like about the police. I think the police are doing fine where I'm at, but they need to be able to come in and say whatever they want. Now, please don't throw gasoline bombs. That would be illegal. But by all means, the idea that you can say bad things about the police or anybody you don't like, or the president or the government or whatever, yes. And it shouldn't be restricted at all. And you can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater, but you can definitely say, I don't like the police. Good. And if you can say that, then, and nobody's there trying to throw you in jail, that's exactly, yep. peaceful protests. Look what Gandhi did. Look what Martin Luther King did. The more hate came at them, it was like the more they turned towards the love, and the better everything got, and the more people were on their side. So we're going down the love line. But again, that's why I love looking back at history. The love line, what does that even mean? I don't know what that means. So I'll look for doing some one-offs. We'll do them live. We'll see how it goes. Could be a train wreck. If I get, what do I have, 11 people in here right now? I could handle 11 people, no problem. We could run through it, and I would kind of see how we would order such a thing. But we'll play around with it. The master emulator works really well from Mythic, and so does Une or UNE. Do me a favor. If you like the RPG content I'm doing, make sure you thumb it up. It's kind of mixed. I'm losing some longtime war game folks, or maybe just folks that just like ham tag, which is cool. And so there's some drop off on my viewership, but then I can see there's some pickup with some RPG folks coming in. But again, I'm not doing it as any kind of new career or anything. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. But I want to make sure that when I get that feedback, it helps tell me what people like. Magnus, and then I'll be out of here soon. I'll take these questions. There have been more than peaceful protest riots in Sweden recently. There have been more than peaceful protests. Okay. I think we all love ham tag. Yeah, I love ham tag too. So half as much, twice as good. If I could get Judd doing some more, that'd be great. If Greg ever wanted to come back and do some, that would be great. I know during the 2-year period, he continued playing a lot of games online. I wonder if he'd be willing to come in and talk about that. Who knows? You won't lose me. You like it all. Awesome. We love ham tag. Yeah, I know. I love ham tag. So, all right. I'm going to sign off there. So, everybody, thanks for tuning in. It's good to be live. I'll make sure, I love doing the live. So I'll make sure I get in and do lives more frequently, even if maybe they're not this long. I may just come in and do a 30-minute one here or there. And we'll see. More than peaceful, meaning violent. Yeah, meaning violent. I guess I'm missing some of the question. Peaceful protest is awesome. If they're violent protests or burning stuff, I don't think that's good at all. That's how people get killed. Ham tag. Yes, we'll take these in real quick. All content is great. Thank you. Thanks, Bart. Have a great rest of your weekend. You too, Kabuki Kid. We're going to get these here. Team on. Thanks for streaming. Saying bye, Kabuki. Be safe all. Yes, we got ciao, team on, and out we go. See you guys and gals. Bye-bye. Baby. Where is it?